A choose your own adventure story, also known as a decision game or multiple ending story, is a type of book in which the reader gets to control the direction of the plot by making choices at various points throughout the story. These books, which were popular in the 1980s and 1990s, which is where I was exposed to them, typically present the reader with a series of choices, each of which leads to a different page or section of the book, allowing for multiple possible paths and endings. The idea behind Choose Your Own Adventure books is to provide readers with an interactive and engaging reading experience, allowing them to feel more invested in the story and to make it their own. To feel more invested in the story and make it their own. Streaming today, it's me, Mike Vanderpool. I am using StreamYard here. StreamYard is pretty awesome. I do a whole bunch of stuff. You can check me out on LinkedIn, Michael Vanderpool. That's how you can find me. I also have a YouTube channel, which is where this is streaming right now. I do a whole bunch of stuff. I'm a faculty curriculum developer. I teach people about technology, teach people about design, and one of the coolest places those two things come together is in game design. What we are talking about are these choose your own adventures. So I bought, I flipped them both upside down. So how come I can't get them the right way? There we go. So these choose your own adventures, I purchased at Barnes and Noble, wonderful bookstore here local to where I live, and the nostalgia in here is pretty fresh. Loved these as a kid, and it was that idea of being in control of the story, very similar to how you're in control inside of a game. So what I wanted to do as I start building this game design content is specifically look at some games, start maybe with tic-tac-toe and some other things where we talk about just the simple logistics of a game and kind of the rules and the game board and stuff like that. But when it comes to building more elaborate, more extensive games, I thought it would be important to start here because this is where all of the best ideas, shouldn't say come from, this is what happens to all of the best ideas. They get turned into the written word. Because only when it's become the written word can you actually start to have real conversations, get feedback, iterate on things, sketch things up, and make simple, easy mistakes and have creative accidents when you're playing with the written word. So, I'm going to look at any game and compare it to what we've got going on in here, specifically games where single player games. So, I'm doing some videos on the original Legend of Zelda. It's a huge favorite of mine. I'm working on that playthrough of the original Legend of Zelda. Going to do a playthrough of Zelda 2. Going to do playthroughs of some other games, generating content and ideas around this game design curriculum so I can point back to things. And I'm going to be creating my own version of the Legend of Zelda, or a Zelda-like game to start with for my class here. But when we think about choose your own adventures and decisions, it's really fascinating. I don't know if anybody knows this, but the back of the book includes kind of like a flow chart of the actual decision tree. So you read a passage in a book, and then typically at the bottom, you'll either have turn to the next page or you'll get a decision. Here we go. First decision of this book. If you choose Kendra as your birth planet, go to next page. And if you choose, if on the other hand, Croyd attracts you, go to page 4. So this flow chart here is deceptively simple. I actually went in and created something here a little bit more elaborate. This is not sure exactly which book it was because I've got more than a few of these choose your own adventures, but this is a chart, and let me make that actually bigger. This is a chart of the actual decisions with the pages laid out linearly, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then the arrows, which are pointing, which are indicating your decisions. So not every page has a decision. Some you just flow to the next page. And then when you're presented with a decision, I believe in Choose Your Own Adventures, the vast majority are you have 2 choices. And we'll talk about why in a second. But as you can see here, 100-page choose your own adventure is really complex. Now, the graph here on Lucid Charts could be causing some of the confusion here in this graphic. But you can see all of these interlinkings between. There's a lot to plan here and a lot to manage. Some pages are just images that kind of helps reduce the number of amount of text that you need. We also have termination points here. The red ones are where you die, orange are neutral, and green are successful. So this idea of decisions that we make when we play games, especially single player games, well, even multiplayer games, right? You're constantly making decisions, which is where you need to be constantly thinking. So, as we talk about this stuff and what it is, so much comes from the written word. You may or may not know this, but the vast majority of most popular video games today, I can't say that, but at least one of the more popular video games today in the Witcher series comes from books. A lot of the movies that are the most popular today, we'll talk about maybe the Marvel movies. Those all come from comic books. So the written word is still a place where a lot of things are, at least first put down on paper and then can become iterated on. When we think about like games just in general and think about the decision trees, we can talk about the original Legend of Zelda. But when you look at that first map board that you're placed on, you've got 4 decisions. You can go east, you can go west, you can head north, or you can enter the cave. Nothing really hinting that you should do one thing over another. It's when you go to the other boards that you start to get some of that information on how well you chose in your choose your own adventure. And what that does from the outset, and this is why Zelda is what it is, it presents that open world. You have all these choices that you're allowed to make, and the more freedom and more choices that you're allowed to make, the more the game, I believe, is immersive. Take a game like Octopath Traveler. If you haven't played that, I'll probably be streaming some of that as well, because what I'm going to build is more like an action RPG, JRPG style game using elements from some of my favorite games from that genre or those genres. But in that situation, you got a choice even before you start playing of which character are you going to start with. There's 8 characters you can choose, all with different positions on the board, all part of an interwoven story. And it is that interwovenness that does make things complex and therefore more interesting. I used to do exercise in my multimedia class, or an activity, an assignment in my multimedia class, specifically around designing a choose your own adventure. I had my class, my multimedia interactive class, start to design choose your own adventures, and they did it in Google Slides. So teachers out there, if you want to get started with game design, you want to get people starting to think about decisions and responses to decisions, choose your own adventures are a great place to start, and you can use a simple tool like Google Slides to do that. Maybe we'll see if we can fit that in the stream or not, but here we go. Here is my first slide. Here's my introduction. And we're going to work under the premise that every page has a decision. So there's no next page, right? If we wanted to have a longer story that needed to go to the next page, this just becomes a longer bit of text. But for right now, we'll keep everything very similar. If we were just to take this, let's go ahead and we're going to throw in the decision tree here. And for those of you that maybe need to want to start teaching kids about some of these diagramming tools and everything else, games are another really great place to start. I mean, I'm going to say if you're teaching kids, start with games. Please, please, please start with games. So here we go. We got a decision, maybe yes and no. So out of the gate, we have 3 boards that we're going to need. Ooh, set line color. Yeah, let's do that. That's kind of cool. Now it's not accessible, but for those of you out there, we do have the text as well. Set the no line to green and the yes line to green and the no line to red. So that is pretty dope. Let's go ahead and let's just do this. We're just going to copy paste this multiple times. Let's go ahead. Not that. What did it do there? It actually copied a screenshot. Here we go. Here's another decision. Okay, that may or may not. Gonna need more room here. Let's go ahead and copy that in again. And here we go. Here we go. Oh my goodness, this is my first day. Lucidchart is pretty awesome. For those of you that haven't used it, I really, really appreciate it. So here we go. If we were just to go ahead and start with an introduction, have a decision, and then keep continuously branching 2 to 2 to 2 with two decisions made, right? Because one of these decisions will not get made. Two of these decisions made, we will need introduction plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 screens, text descriptions, pages in order for this to play out. And you can probably see how that would magnify exponentially. Magnify, that's not duplicate exponentially or grow exponentially. What happens when we insert a third choice? So let's go ahead and we'll just take our decision and our introduction here, and let's copy this over here. We are going to need more real estate for this, for hopefully obvious reasons. But let me go ahead and I'm going to take this process and this process, paste this over here, and then we'll go ahead and paste one more over here. Yeah, maybe they're equidistant, maybe they're not. Don't yell at me. But now if we had maybe a three-pronged decision out of the gate, how messy does this get? So we said what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 screens here, right? But even if we start out with an option, 3 options out of the gate, and then just come in here and take split them down into 2, you're going to see that we already, and this is common sense, I guess. And maybe you don't need the visual to understand this, but I appreciate the visuals because it allows us really to understand a little bit more about what we're talking about, and can iterate on things a lot better when we have them written down, hence writing down our games into a prose book type fashion here. But right now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 pages needed versus 6 pages needed. So 1.5 pages more. So imagine how this then, I think it's going to be 1.5 the whole entire time. Now I'd have to do the math or some calculations here, but the lesson I learned when teaching this was I had students who, when designing their choose your own adventure, wanted to go ahead and start out with 3 decisions. And I think I let somebody do that and it turned into a hot mess right away. My advice for anybody trying to use choose your own adventures as part of teaching game design, critical thinking, flow charts, cause and effect, whatever it might be, is to limit your folks to 2 choices. Last thing, since we talked about it, I really should go ahead and maybe give an example here over in Google of how to set this up. So let's see, we'll just say title page here, and then let's go ahead and we'll add a page. Oh geez, it'll be something like this, right? Choice 1, choice 2. What's dope here, and let me add 3 or 4 pages, you can actually turn this text into a link to a different slide. I can't remember how. Link, and you can link to a document, or you can link to a slide, or you can link to the slide in this presentation. So we're going to link to slide 2. This will link to slide 3, and this is going to get really, really gross. Let's go ahead and say, let's undo that. Let's go ahead and give this a title. This is slide 3, and this is slide 4. That way we can actually see what we've got going on here. Slide 3 and slide 4. So you come in, you have your students diagram out what they're going to do. You have them and maybe write their bits on a piece of paper, or you have them honestly maybe write some of their stuff in Google Drive, although it could get a little messy. Organizing and how you would actually structure this to get from the idea to the diagram to a final product, we definitely will cover that a little bit more extensively when we do the game design course. But this is really, or one of the game design courses, this is really just kind of an introduction, maybe some idea sparking here. So I can come in here and I can turn this into a link, and I can link this then. It should give me, yes, sweet, it does give me slide 3. And then hopefully here I can link this. I didn't see an option for slide 4, but there it is, slide 4. So now when I do a presentation, and this is what would be cool, I can come in here, boom, boom. So your students could design and develop a choose your own adventure with maybe lucid charts, but honestly index cards and a whiteboard could work here, and then implement that on Google Slides. And what's interesting here, let's go choose your own adventure. Um, that is a registered trademark, so we should probably do something else. Decision, decision game. There we go. What's awesome is once you have these links set up, I believe if you switch the slides, the links also change. They do. You can see that. So sweet, sweet, sweet. So I guess, folks, real quick, down and dirty, as I continue to build some of this game design content and really breaking down games and using games to teach people things, I want to be able to share that with everybody here. So I'll be doing live streams, and I'll take some of that live stream and I'm going to turn that into practical content, or more edited, more streamlined content, more sequenced content. Some of the stuff that I do live is just going to be, we went and bought one of these for my son the other day, and then we went to the bookstore again, and he had to get another one. So he's 6 now. He's reading at a higher level, so he's 7. Wait, he's reading at like an 8th grade level or an 8-year-old level. But kid loves to read, and I'm going to argue that it's probably video games that are why he loves to read. Or can read, because I wouldn't read the games to him. So in order for him to play, he had to be able to read. Pokemon cards are the same thing. If you watch my channel, games, Pokemon, I love talking about those things. I love talking about design, and all these things are coming together. Design, development, data, all come together in games, and I'm really, really excited to keep building more of this content. So appreciate any feedback that you have. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. That's really the best thing for you to stay up to date with what I need, or best way for you to stay up to date with what I'm doing is to check out YouTube by subscribing to me. And that also helps me because I'm working on building a channel here. And the more subscribers you have, the more likely it is that you can make money and I can keep doing things like this. So definitely appreciate all that you, everybody out there who's watching this stuff and checking it out. And we will talk again soon. Have a great day.